Or I gave 3 things earlier today, so I'll try to be consistent in my answer. First and foremost, jet lag, not a fan. I have a lot of energy and I don't sleep a lot, but I am human, and that is a real challenge. So I wear a watch on my hand that always shows East Coast time. My phone is always set to West Coast time, and when I'm hungry and grouchy and tired, before I start in on a staffer, I try to look and figure out what time it is. And sometimes it'll be 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time, and I saw that. And so it is a real challenge to kind of live in 2 time zones like that. The second least favorite thing is airline travel. As we all know, it's not pleasant. And this is an issue where, again, I have yet to meet the American who likes being squished and at risk of not being able to exit the plane safely in an emergency. So this is an area where, again, I think Congress really does feel your pain and then some. And so that's a challenge. I mean, our airport, as we know, is limited by curfews. There are very few direct flights, so that is a real challenge. And it's cost me, I've missed votes twice because of it, because of airline cancellations. The third thing that I think I like the least is, I mentioned earlier that Congress is a deliberative body, and that's important. I mean, it's big. The House in particular, I think it's hard to get your head around it till you're on the House floor in the crush of people. I mean, 435 of you milling around. It's a miracle that we ever get a scaffold quiet. It's just a large group of people. And so part of this is intentional, right? Like Congress can't do things quickly because we have to all get into agreement. But part of it is frustrating because sometimes I feel like Congress's motto is solving yesterday's problems tomorrow. And so part of what I have to remind myself of is both the importance of being on the ground, trying to get a handle on tomorrow's problems, and the challenges facing seniors are not new, but they are going to grow, and we need to try to get ahead of them when we can. But part of it is reminding myself that pace and that deliberation, although frustrating, is there by the design of our founders in creating the most durable, strong democracy the world has ever known. And so I try to check my personal impatience sometimes against what I really think was the wisdom of our founding fathers. What do I like the most? Sounds funny to say, what do I like most about being in Washington, when the answer is being back here. So the chance to get to know our community better has been the most rewarding part of this job. And it's both getting to know people, but places. I've lived here for 7 or 8 years now, and you drive by and you see the stucco office building, and you unless you work there, you often don't know what's behind it. And so getting to tour some of our businesses, getting to go into pockets of our community, meet with groups that are working on certain issues. We are just so blessed to have such a rich and talented and diverse community in the 45th district. So that is my favorite part. My constituents are my favorite part, and our community is my favorite part. What else do I like? Well, I should be honest. I like committee. I like asking my questions. I do get very nervous. And part of it is, in the first couple times I wasn't as nervous, but also nobody knew what hit them. So I have the advantage of surprise. Now when it's my turn, the witness just looks like they're gonna puke. I was going into a hearing the other day and one of my colleagues said, they were going to a meeting and they said, with a constituent, they said, shall I turn around and listen? Are you gonna go viral? And I said, it's a flood insurance hearing. I'm not sure where you want me to take this one. But we are gearing up on the committee to do some really important, more technical projects, including the reauthorization of the export-import bank, which is very important, to trade, which of course is a big part of our economy here in Southern California. I mentioned flood insurance. We've already begun to have some conversations about SEC rules, protecting investors. So I love committee. And then the third part of it is, I've had a lot of intelligent colleagues over my career. I've been very, very fortunate to go to schools that attracted bright, hardworking students, to work at universities like UCI that had an amazing and talented staff. But at their best, these are colleagues unlike any other that I have ever encountered in terms of their passion, in terms of their integrity, in terms of their commitment to do the job right. And I mean that even on the other side of the aisle at times. You see it. So I may not always agree with some of these folks, but I see in them a lot of the time a real desire to try to do right, and that is especially true amongst my freshman colleagues. So I would have to say, being part of a large, vibrant group of freshmen, I can't imagine how isolating it would be to come in as one of 2 or 3 new kids. I really do spend, the first month or so, I spent most of my time trying to find the way in and out of the buildings. It's just a maze. And so to this day, my staff knows, I always say, there are tunnels everywhere, and I always say, we're going outside, we're going outside, we're going outside. And part of it is I like the weather. I miss being outdoors every day in California, but part of it is when I'm outside, I can spot the Capitol. So when I'm down in that tunnel, it's really, we wound up in a deep freeze one day, we've had a few mishaps, so that's normal. So I would think it's my freshman colleagues that makes the job really, really rewarding. To come in with this level of diversity and youth and passion is a really special experience.